Hello, hearts there. Welcome once again to Fourth Estate on Impact Africa Television. On this program, we look at issues in society. We look at those things governments are doing, those ones they are not doing, why are they not doing it, or why are they doing it, and what the society ought to do that probably it is not doing, or it is doing it wrongly. And we are looking at it from the perspective of the media. We will look at the last 4 years in Nigeria. How has it been? How far? And inauguration was held this week for all those who have been re-elected or elected to serve another 4 years. What do we expect from them? What type of governance are we expecting, both at the federal and the state levels? We will also look at declaration of assets. Is it enough to just write something on a paper and give it to an agency, and the agency will say, I have complied? Is that the end of the work of the agency? Is that the end of the work of the media? To just give us snippets to say, this is what so person has declared. Have they done their own independent investigations? And as you know, tension is moving to the parliament, and they want to elect the speaker and the Senate president. From the configuration, and the APC national chairman has said, it's our party, we are in the majority, and we will determine who the leadership should go to. Is the opposition folding its arms? Or do we expect that there will be, maybe, the unexpected happening again? These are some of the issues we will look at on this edition of Fourth Estate. I am Olufunke Fadiba. You are most welcome on board. Yes, welcome back. To discuss the issues with me today, I have Muka Popola, a veteran journalist. Muka, you are most welcome.
I'm pleased to be with you.
Thank you. Also, we have the executive editor, New Dawn Nigeria, Mr. Tunde Abaton.
It's a pleasure being here again.
Thank you. Muka, let's start with you. The last 4 years. Can we do a review of the last 4 years politically? We want to look at it that yesterday, during the inauguration ceremony, both in Abuja and across the various states, we had 15 APC governors being sworn in and 14 PDP governors. Whereas in 2015, we had 20 APC governors and 9 PDP governors. What went wrong? One would have expected that with the massive landslide victory in 2015, PDP shouldn't even have more than 5. I was thinking so.
Well, that's also, to me, that shows an improvement in our democratic culture. It shows that the Nigerian electorate are alive, to their powers. In 2015 election, they had reasons to punish PDP. APC.
You call it punishment?
Yes, it was punishment. I mean, when the electorate that had supported a party for 16 years, whichever way, turned against that party and supported a party that was formed, through a coalition within a merger, within just 1 year, and routed the party that has been in government for 16 years. It was a punishment for whatever inadequacies, were counted against them. APC, had coordinated campaign, 2014, 2015. They brought out the low side of the PDP government in the course of their 16 years in government, and the Nigerian electorate bought into it. And that was why we saw what was then known as the tsunami, against the PDP. And even then, APC still enjoyed, massive support, of the electorate, as trying to help them stabilize in government. 2015, 2016, you could hardly, unless you were very, very courageous, you could hardly talk against the activities of the Buhari government or whatever APC was doing that was not doing rightly. They will tell you, look, please leave us alone. Let's
savor this one.
Yes, let's see what they want to do. And even they go to the extent of either telling you that you are willing, if they don't say you are willing, they say that you are brooding because if there is no free money in town again. You have lost your source, because Jonathan was sacked, and they were saying all this, to express their support for
the APC government.
But dramatically, the performance of the APC government began to fall, short of their expectations, so to say, and that's what reflected in the result of the 2019 election. Prior to that, the political parties, the way politicians operate in Nigeria, you can see, cross-carpeting, here and there,
jumping from one place to the other.
Elections were held in between. The APC scaled up, Estali, they got Ekiti, they got Ondo, but through cross-carpeting, PDP also benefited Sokoto and Kwara. So it was 2-2, quote unquote, goalless. So those were the drama that we saw. But we saw the drama of politics. We did not see the improvement in governance. That was the problem. And as far as the electorate was concerned, they were in support of the Buhari administration and APC on the tripod, that was sold to them. They wanted, security. They wanted an improved economy, and then they also wanted real war against corruption. And they supported the government. In the area of anti-corruption, they saw that government was creating a semblance of a war against anti-corruption. But there was also an area that people began to doubt the sincerity of the same government. When you go after the opposition, you go all out. But when issues were raised, about people close to your government or close to your party, after some noise, the thing will either go down, and if you have to move, against that person, it will be a pat on the wrist. And all these things, we are now ticking down, the rating of the performance of that government. They never knew that people were taking, note of all this. So, and when you now talk of security, yes, you moved against Boko Haram, and you told us that they have been technically degraded. Our army, they did their best, because life were sacrificed. We must know that. And to the extent that they told us several times that Sambisa has been cleared, they told us several times they have killed Shekau. They killed Shekau about 4 times. They captured the Quran, they captured so many. So, but all of a sudden, we moved away from Boko Haram, and then we started having kidnapping, we started having banditry. That one was a new narrative, of recent. Banditry, in fact, covers everything. If once you agree that there is banditry in the country, you are talking that Boko Haram is still there, that kidnapping is there, that armed robbery is there, all this. So now distinguishing all other crimes from banditry, I can't understand. Everything is banditry. But what we are saying is, you cannot, with all that we are saying, you cannot say now that we have done well in the area of security. If we are in this part of the country, in Lagos, and you still manage to sleep with your two eyes closed, you wake up and eat amala and go out and come back safely, is it the same with the people in Adamawa, in Borno State, in Katsina, in Zamfara? You know, with the kind of stories we have every day, Kaduna, Southern Kaduna, in Benue, and massive killing. When you look at the number of people that have been killed, the number of people that have been displaced within the last 4 years, I mean, it is far more than, you know, in terms of ratio, we are likely to say perhaps it is far more than even the period that we came to know Boko Haram in 2010. So these are some of the issues that were with us up to the period
of the election.
And when you talk of an improved economy, of course we cannot say that we have an improved economy in the last 4 years.
Although we were able to move out of recession.
To people who deal with data, they will say yes, that we moved out of recession. But the ordinary man with hunger in his belly does not understand that. All the challenges, you know, the personal challenges that people have, which to them, you know, is as a consequence of the performance of the economy, still makes them believe that we are not doing well. So to those who understand data, who can talk about GDP and all that, they will say yes, we had a recession and we moved out of it. But the ordinary man remains poor. He is unable to feed his
and that must
family.
have influenced their voting pattern.
Oh, of course, definitely. Even if those who are bought, you know, from, it's because they were hungry. That with just a pack of Indomie or 200 naira, people were voting.
Mr. Abato, a review of the last 4 years.
Yes,
Okay. Sokoto or your yes, Bauchi.
That's it. One thing that what we have learned in the last 4 years is that, you know, like a Yoruba, they do say that if you don't have 2 husbands, if a woman doesn't have 2 husbands,
you won't know that the one you just left is better.
Looking at the microeconomy that I was talking of, you see, from the experience of the past 4 years, essentially when we look at the data, the economic data of the country, yes, on the pages of paper, it appears to have moved out of recession. But me, as a political economy of Nigeria, we should begin to think of the fact that it's not only the federal government and the state government that should be culpable. The local governments too. If the state government will not allow the money to flow to the local government, these people that we are talking about, they are not going to feel any positive impact as a result of either new legislation or new economic policy that's done. So what would have happened is that I would have expected is kind of system in which you can hold the 3 arms of government responsible. The federal government will give allocation to the state. The state also will allow it. But with the kind of constitution that we are running in Nigeria, a government can just wake up one morning and sack local government chairman. Besides that, something has been trending, and the fact that state governments have been sitting on the allocation of local governments. They are not going to, because they are running.
They call it joint account.
So if you are running a joint account, you are saying that on behalf of Alimosho local government, you are going to do the projects for them, which means you are not allowing the money to trickle down. Yes,
and you may not be addressing the issue.
Corruption. That's why the government not going to the corruption. But if I know that if you have the money to trickle down,
it will impact
on the lives of the ordinary people. But now, when the state government believes that they are the only one that can ease the burden of the people, it is too bad. Because why do we have local governments? We have local governments because we want it to bring government.
And you think that affected the election?
It affected the election in the sense that, like he said, if people, ordinary people who can't understand your statistics, if they cannot feed, if their business is not moving. Look, if you allow a local government to construct a road, now, bricklayer will eat money. carpenter will eat money.
The food seller.
The food seller will go to that place and eat money. Either the road is going to take 1 year or 2 years. So this is what concerns me about Nigeria, because and it shows that we are running a unitary system of government. If somebody in Abuja has no business with the local government in my town,
or health center.
Now look at it. Now look at the health center that you mentioned of. Like in Ogun State, there was a publication last week that we have only 40 medical doctors. You cannot even access a primary health center. A primary health center is supposed to be the first point of reference. Now people will now go to the teaching hospital, and you are not supposed to report
to go and treat malaria.
So I think we have to do it again, because my own basis is that our economic arrangement, whichever party, because from what we have seen so far, there's no difference between the two parties. If people can move from PDP in the evening, yesterday evening, then they go to APC today and they will become a candidate. It means there's no difference between the two political parties.
Let me take you on.
Let
me take you up on that, because we are reviewing the last 4 years.
Yes.
And we are looking at it that if a party had goodwill, and we are talking of running a particular type of government, it will affect. Even if another party should be in charge and we are still running the same system, then we will still have this lopsided type of governance, and the people will keep shifting as well. Don't you think so?
Well, it is possible, but like I said, the most important thing is that the people are
they are in control.
If I then they are 4 years now, the people usually for APC, they voted for PDP. Now, and when you voted for PDP governor now, they still operating the kind of system that you are operating, because it's systemic, which means the money will still not go down. But I'm so particular about the fact that whichever system, either the PDP, APC, like in America, so
it's not a party issue.
It should not be a party issue. It should be a function of the system. If the constitution is done in such a way that a state governor cannot just tamper with a local government. Like for instance, I look at the governor for your state. He took over yesterday and he sacked all the local government chairmen. I'm not even bothered. I'm bothered about the fact that the people are not allowed to have a say in what is happening administration. If you allow the people to have a say, let's say local government now, according to the new NFIU, from January, June tomorrow, they will now disburse the money straight to the local government. Publish it in all the newspapers. So after 3 years, if your local government chairman fails to perform,
then you know who to hold.
That he has failed. You know who to hold. It's not a question of the party, the government. In a state in Nigeria, the governor sat on the local government money for 6 months and was giving them 2 million naira. What do you expect a chairman of a local government to spend 2 million for 6 months? I'm not talking of running costs, I'm talking of development. Because if you don't change the economy of Nigeria, let the AJ party of Nigeria be in power tomorrow. Let us have a party that will defeat the APC and PDP. If the AJ part of Nigeria is in power tomorrow and we are still running this kind of system, the people will not have the impact. The people will keep on changing, not knowing that it is not even the characters that are changing, because in the two parts.
Yeah, they said. Let's look at this now. If that was a bad strategy, I'm sure the presidency will know how to quickly work around it. But let's talk about expectations. What should we expect from the government? After all, 4 years, you have taken 4 years to study the situation. Even based on the benefit of hindsight, they would have known what they ought to have done that they did not do, or what they did and they didn't go the extra mile. What do we expect government to do in the next 4 years? What should the citizens be expecting from government in terms of power, in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of security, in terms of the economy, in terms of job creation? There are so many challenges. What do we expect? Let's start from cabinet composition.
Well, I think...
who are those human beings? Should we import from Ghana?
I think the president what they wanted. What they wanted in the sense that I wanted to believe that having been there for 4 years,
yes,
and having access all the ministers forget about what he said about all of them are past, just trying to be a good father. But you know that if you have 5 children, or as a teacher, if you have 20 students in class, you know those who are
you can categorize them.
You can categorize them, you can award them pass mark.
That's
but
it.
you will have said that that is left on you. One will have expected that I haven't been there for 4 years and I haven't seen the dynamics of the Nigerian nation. He has another opportunity, probably the last opportunity, to now re-engineer all the important sectors of the Nigerian economy. How you re-engineer it is left to you, and that will be dependent, because what your vision is determined, is going to determine the kind of people you are going to
put in place.
You are going to put there. So it depends on what he has for infrastructure. Yeah, they have been moving on. I always tell people that yes, I may be very critical, but I have seen really being constructed, which I have never seen in my life before. Yes, we are going to move away to insecurity life of Nigerians, because these are the things that affect Nigeria. You are going to ensure that the so-called federal rules, people have an impact on those roads. Because without doing all these things, no economic policy you put in place that will work. If to go to my house now and to go to Victoria Island, I still spend about, I earn 50,000 every month. I still spend about 40,000 transporting myself. It's not a good economy. So the government has to do something about transportation, about security, about health. Like I said the other time, a state in Nigeria, a whole state that has about 2.5 million people or 3 million has about 40 doctors. There is no plan that you can put in place. Go and buy all the drugs you want to buy. You cannot.
You need the experts to be able to access it.
So it is your vision that should power the kind of people that should be in your cabinet. If you are unable to have a very clear vision of what you want, then the people you are going to put into your cabinet are just going to be there doing, because nobody can run beyond his master. You have to know that. If somebody appoints you, you cannot run beyond him. If you say minister, you can't start.
Muka, what do you expect?
The expectation has been demonstrated, by the outcome of the last result, the election. That's the expectation. What I mean by that is that, you see, if I'm permitted to say this in Yoruba, and then I will translate. See, so when the living is not doing well, then we remember the deeds of the dead. So, and what it means is people who wanted to put PDP behind them were reminded in the last election that PDP is still alive. Maybe PDP would do better, and that was the reason they voted in the manner they voted. And PDP now moved. Yes, PDP now moved. It's like the dead bone, rising again. What that means is that they have challenged this government that going forward, you should do better than you have been doing. So, but the issue is, unless we have an economy that can accommodate everybody, let the ordinary man, be able to survive on the fringes of the economy. There are people that are surviving, not those that are in the core part of the economy, the bankers, the stockbrokers, and all that, who understand figures. Just like I said, even me, nothing concerns me about figure. I don't know about anything about counting money. That the one that goes into my pocket.
Okay. Well, let's draw the curtain here. It seems the time is fast spent, but I'm sure when we come back next week, we will look at the parliament, because we need to look at it critically. Who will be in charge of the Senate and the House of Representatives? Will it be a majority party, or will it be supported with the opposition? Let me thank Muka Popola for coming today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. It's a pleasure.
And Tunde Abasan, thank you. And you out there for investing your time with us. We say thank you. God bless. Olifunke Fadugba saying bye-bye.